It's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and a lot of you are getting confused as to what to do when you kind of near the end of your trays for Invisalign. Do I refine? Do I use VPC, virtual power chain, if I baked it into my plan, or do I do retainers? And those are our three options in general. There's a few other one-off, but this is the three general options. So this is kind of my flow chart that I made and my thought process on how you know you're done, how you know if you should use VPC if you do have it, and how do you know if you need a refinement. So let's go ahead and walk our way through the flow chart. First thing you're gonna do is check the alignment, of the teeth. The ins and the outs, the ups and the downs. Not only do I check it, I also often recommend taking a panoramic x-ray. That's what orthodontists do. We check to make sure all the roots are upright and parallel. And then I hand the patient the mirror and I say, what do you think about this? This is your time. I say orthodontics is an art and a science. It's both. Say the art is subjective. So some things, you may like a certain tooth up, down, in, out a little different than maybe I think. I just want to know your thoughts. I give them a moment to take a look. And matter of fact, normally what I'll do is I'll let them know even before we get to that appointment that the next appointment is going to be an appointment for them to take some time and point out things that they may or may not want change. And I invite them to loop their family and friends into the conversation. That's extremely important because what you don't want to hear is 3 months later, oh, my friend says this tooth isn't straight. You're giving them an opportunity. Now, if you put them on the spot and you don't brief them and give them time to study it at home, they may not find anything. They may feel under pressure. So that's why I like to let them know that we're going to do a quote Hollywooding appointment is what I call it, where we might do some fine tuning. It's an option. And that you're happy to do it and that it won't cost anything extra and that you want their feedback. These are all scripting that I would use. So hand them the mirror, ins, outs, ups, downs. Normally I'm going to find something. I give them a moment. If they say no, they don't see anything. And if I do see something, I always let them go first. Then I'm going to say, do you mind if I point out a few options? I say, again, this is very subjective. They may be like done and not care, but I want to point them out a few things. So I'm going to point them out what I see. Hey, maybe this lateral incisor could be a little bit lower to match this one a little bit more. Or, maybe we can just shave off the incisal edges with some enamelplasty and fine tune with that. Look at the lower incisors. Maybe we could rotate this one a little bit more. That is what I generally do. Okay, so that is step one. So are both you and the patient happy with alignment? If both of you are happy, then we're good. We can go ahead and move on to the next question. If both of you are not happy, well, then no reason to do these next questions because we're going to go ahead and do a refinement. And, you know how to do that. If you don't, you can go into my YouTube channel, click on the Invisalign playlist, and I've got plenty of videos about that. Or we do help doctors one-on-one with their Invisalign cases. Okay, so step two, I want you to take articulating paper, tap, tap, grind, grind, and check the bite. What I'm looking for is even posterior occlusion on all posterior teeth, and I mean canines on back. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see one side heavier than the other. I don't want to see one tooth not having occlusion, assuming there is an opposing tooth, and I don't want to see any anterior occlusion on 7 through 10, 22 to 26, upper 2 to 2, lower 2 to 2. I don't want to see that, okay? So if I have this, that's amazing. If you got that, it doesn't often happen, then you can go ahead and skip to the next question. If you didn't get this, you're going to go ahead and refine regardless. You're going to refine to get more balanced occlusion. You're going to refine to get contacts on all the posterior teeth. You're going to refine to remove the premature anterior contacts from the front teeth. That may or may not involve lower IPR. That may or may not involve more torque on the upper teeth. There's a couple things it could be to remove interferences. Okay, so kind of take through this, but they're all refine, okay? Okay, so let's say we did both like the alignment, we did have posterior occlusion and no anterior occlusion. Then what's next? Last step is gonna be checking contacts. You're gonna get your floss out and floss, all through all the contacts. There should not be any open contacts unless there's a missing tooth. If somehow there is an open contact, maybe due to a Bolton discrepancy, a tooth size discrepancy, maybe that was intentional. And then you need to bring that up and talk about bonding fillings or veneers and what that price might be and if they are open to that, if you hadn't already baked that into the treatment plan initially. Otherwise, there shouldn't be open contacts. Light contacts are okay as long as they're not perio traps, as long as they're not impacting food or plaque. So that's really a conversation that you're going to have with the patient. If it's a light contact, give them the option of closing it. So, I mean, it's fairly common to have open contacts. It's not, and there's a few other options besides refinements. You can go into my Invisalign playlist on YouTube and check that out. So let's say we have a few open contacts. I want you to go ahead and document them, 0.1 millimeter. You can use your IPR gauge to go ahead and measure it and document exactly where they are between tooth number 6 and 7, between tooth numbers 12 and 13, or, however your language is, upper right 4, upper right 5. Write them down, document them, because you're going to forget where they are, and they don't always get picked up on a scan. This is the important part. So go ahead and document them. Then if you had virtual power chain baked into your initial treatment plan, this is where you can deliver the first VPC aligner, and only one and only one. Check out all my other videos on VPC to understand how to use those. The other option would be Ghost IPR or Refinement. And again, I have tons of videos of that within the Invisalign playlist. If somehow you don't have open contacts, your money. This is good, and this is good, and you got it on the first try, go you. It doesn't happen that often. It means both you at making a treatment plan and the patient at wearing their aligners and the lab and the predictability of the Clin Check or whatever it was, you all did your job and it worked. Then you can do retainers. Hopefully this was helpful. That's just kind of how my mind works whenever I do an aligner case to know if I'm done. Thanks.